When Fallout fans finish another long run of the game, there's always that moment of, okay, now what? Well, these 9 games are the closest answers you're gonna get. I know it's not easy to get another game that hits the exact same as Fallout, and it's not easy to get immersed in a completely new world, but these 9 games hit similar notes. Exploration, immersive worlds, agency, faction tension, player choice, but all in different flavors. The first 8 games on the list are my full-on picks, and the last one is an honorable mention that you should keep an eye on. I'll go over who each game is best for, as well as main strengths and weaknesses for each game. Let's get into it. Number 8. Wasteland 3. Best for Fallout fans who want classic CRPG decision-making with modern combat and dark humor. Wasteland 3 feels like someone took the old Fallout DNA, like Fallout 1 and 2, and modernized it without sanding off the rough edges. Instead of first-person shooting, you get turn-based squad combat, but the real hook is the decision-making. If you miss New Vegas-style choices and consequences, this game is for you. Fallout 4 is shoot first, talk later. Wasteland 3 is the opposite. You're constantly making messy calls. Which faction to support, who gets resources, who lives in the new settlements, who starves. And these choices actually stick. They don't just give you a different line of dialogue, they change how later missions even exist. The writing also leans into dark humor that Fallout hasn't really done since the Black Isles/New Vegas era. You'll meet cults worshipping Ronald Reagan as a divine savior, a crime family obsessed with pre-war cuisine, and NPCs who will happily stab you in the back if it benefits them. In other words, if you always tell people, I prefer New Vegas to Fallout 4, this is your game. Main pros: consequence-heavy storytelling with lasting impacts. Dark humor that feels true to early Fallout tone. Skill checks and builds actually matter. High replay value due to branching paths. Cons: turn-based combat isn't for everyone. Not as visually cinematic as modern open-world shooters. Number 7. The Witcher 3. Best for Fallout fans who want story investment, well-written characters, faction politics, and world-state consequences. Here's the connection Witcher 3 has with Fallout. Both worlds are broken, and both worlds are full of regular people trying to survive under incompetent leadership. The difference is just radiation versus monsters and plague. What Witcher 3 does better than almost any Fallout title is the side quests. And I don't mean fetch numbers, I mean actual multi-step stories that end up paying off. A simple contract can turn into a political mess between peasants and nobles. A missing person job can turn into a moral dilemma with no clean solution. Fallout fans who enjoy faction politics will recognize it immediately. Nilfgaard versus the Northern Kingdoms feels like NCR versus Legion, except the map is bigger and the consequences hit harder. Where Fallout wins is on freedom to build your character from scratch. Witcher 3 locks you into the Witcher, Geralt. But the game pays that off by making him feel like a real person with history and relationships, not a blank slate. Main pros: elite tier side quest writing with real outcomes. Political and cultural world building everywhere you go. Huge map that rewards exploration instead of checklisting. Memorable characters that make choices feel personal. Cons: combat is okay, but not amazing. Inventory and UI can get annoying. Game can be too easy if not playing on the hardest difficulty. Number 6. Elden Ring. Best for Fallout fans who want exploration freedom, environmental storytelling, high difficulty, and hard-earned mastery. Elden Ring looks nothing like Fallout on the surface, but the part that overlaps is exploration philosophy. Fallout says, go wherever, figure out the story through the environment. Elden Ring does the same thing, just with swords and magic instead of pipe rifles. The difference is in how the world reacts to you. In Fallout, you learn the story through terminals, tapes, and NPCs. In Elden Ring, you learn it through ruined architecture, weird enemy placements, and how regions connect. It's like reading a history book made of level design. The big thing about Elden Ring is how no one holds your hand. There's no GPS, no giant "go here first" warning. You make your own route, get destroyed by a dragon, leave, come back, 10 hours later and suddenly you're the one doing the destroying. If you are a Fallout fan who explores every building and checks every terminal, Elden Ring's "what's on the other side of this hill" loop is dangerously addictive. Pros: massive map full of genuine discovery. World tells its story without exposition dumps. Tons of builds and playstyles. Freedom to approach zones in any order. Cons: difficulty filters out a chunk of players. Quest lines are cryptic without guides. Number 5. Red Dead Redemption 2. Best for Fallout fans who want immersion, slower storytelling, and realistic open world set in the Wild West. RDR2 is not your typical level up and min-max RPG. It's about living in a historical world that actually reacts to your behavior. Think of it as Fallout if Fallout NPCs had more memory and less bullet sponge. Where Fallout 4 floods you with markers, RDR2 barely gives you any. Half the best content comes from random people on the road, overheard conversations in bars, and animals reacting to each other. The immersion comes from simulation, not from the systems. The story is also where Fallout fans lock in. It's not about saving the world, it's about the death of a way of life. That hits a similar emotional note as Fallout's nostalgia for the pre-war world. It's slower, but it hits harder. Pros: one of the most immersive worlds ever made. Strong narrative themes and character writing. Exploration feels organic and unscripted. Tons of emergent moments not tied to quests. Cons: very slow onboarding compared to most RPGs. Some systems are deep but underexplained. Number 4. Cyberpunk 2077. Best for Fallout fans who want a sci-fi dystopian city version of the Wasteland with a strong story, faction power struggles, and excellent characters. Cyberpunk is basically Fallout's DNA, just swapped from nuclear apocalypse to corporate apocalypse. Replace radiation with cyberware addiction, raiders with gangsters, and Voltec with Arasaka, and the parallels are obvious. What Cyberpunk nails is the city as a character idea. Night City feels like Fallout's Boston or DC, except denser and vertical. There are districts with their own cultures, their own gangs, their own problems. If you liked Fallout 4's faction quests, Cyberpunk scratches that itch, just with more style and better voice acting. You absolutely don't need Phantom Liberty to enjoy it, although it's a nice addition. Base Cyberpunk is a full RPG with multiple endings, companion arcs, and tons of side gigs. Phantom Liberty just tightens combat, police systems, and offers a new political thriller storyline that fits the universe very well. Where Fallout gives you wastelands, Cyberpunk gives you neon jungles. But the core emotion is the same. You are a tiny person in a giant, broken system trying not to get crushed. Pros: great faction storytelling and social world building. Multiple endings that reflect your choices. Strong characters and voice performances. Phantom Liberty is optional, but it elevates the whole package. Cons: combat and AI still have rough spots. Crafting and cyberware are overpowered, especially early on. Number 3. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Best for Fallout fans who want a super realistic medieval RPG with no magic or dragons. Kingdom Come is what happens if you take Skyrim or Fallout, strip out the fantasy and power fantasy, and make the world behave like a real historical place. You don't start as a chosen one. You start as a barely literate villager who has to learn how to read, fight, and navigate social hierarchies. Where Fallout lets you persuade people with 10 in charisma, Kingdom Come makes you dress the part, smell the part, and act the part. Clothes affect your reputation. Speech checks depend on social context. Crime systems feel more like real justice and less like pay a fine and move on. Fallout fans who enjoy survival mods, hardcore mode, or immersive sim design will get hooked instantly. There are no dragons, no mutants, no magic. Just you, a world that doesn't care about you, and systems that make you earn every step. Main pros: deep immersion through realistic mechanics. Crime, speech, and reputation systems feel meaningful. Exploration feels like getting lost in a real landscape. Satisfying progression because nothing is handed to you. Cons. Early difficulty can feel brutal. Lack of fantasy elements filters out power fantasy players. Number 2. Dragon's Dogma 2. Best for Fallout fans who want unpredictable adventures and big monster fights in an open world. Dragon's Dogma 2 does something that most open-world games don't. It generates stories you didn't plan. Fallout players already know this feeling. When you leave Diamond City for one quest and end up doing 5 others without realizing it. Here, that's the entire design. You set out to reach a city before sundown, then get ambushed by bandits, dragged into a cave, rescued by pawns, chased by a griffin, and arrive 2 days late. That's the charm. The pawn system is also weirdly close to Fallout companions, except they know more and sometimes they know things that you don't, like monster weaknesses or hidden paths. They feel like part of the world instead of just loot mules. If Fallout is about emergent narrative through systems, this is that idea turned up to 11. Main pros. Loads of emergent story moments. Pawn system adds personality and strategy. Monster climbing makes combat unique. Nighttime travel is genuinely dangerous. Main cons. Story pacing is uneven. Difficulty spikes can hit out of nowhere. Honorable mention, Avowed. Best for Fallout fans who want Obsidian-style writing and faction design in a new fantasy setting. Avowed is the one game on this list that I think is unfairly judged by a lot of people, but it earns an honorable mention on my list. If you're a Fallout fan who constantly tells people that New Vegas is the best Fallout, then you should give Avowed a chance. Obsidian's specialty has always been faction politics, gray morality, and player-driven outcomes. Avowed delivers those pillars in a new setting with better production values than New Vegas ever got. It's better than Outworld, though not quite on the level of New Vegas. But I think it's still unfair to always compare Obsidian's games to the lightning in a bottle that was New Vegas, and Avowed is a good game in its own right. Main pros. Obsidian pedigree for writing and factions. Good writing and world building. Fresh setting outside nuclear/post-apocalyptic tropes. Main cons. Mechanical depth isn't great. Limited enemy variety. And number 1, Baldur's Gate 3. Best for Fallout fans who care most about choices, consequences, and talking their way through problems. Baldur's Gate 3 is basically what Fallout fans claim they want when they say, "I miss real role-playing." Every decision matters in Baldur's Gate 3. If you kill someone, the game doesn't spawn a replacement NPC. Rather, the story adjusts. If you fail a persuasion check, you deal with the fallout, pun intended, instead of reloading. Companion writing is also a big draw. In Fallout 4, companions mostly like or dislike the things you do. In Baldur's Gate 3, companions have goals that can clash with yours, which forces interesting choices. It's closer to the ideological conflicts in New Vegas rather than the likes/dislikes system in Fallout 4. Where Fallout gives you shooting and open-world pathing, Baldur's Gate 3 gives you tactical combat and narrative branching. Different tools, same outcome. You get to solve problems your way. Main pros, the most reactive modern RPG currently available. Companion arcs with real ideological conflict. Tons of replay value due to branching paths. Roleplay systems that respect player decisions. Main cons. Turn-based combat is not for everyone. Act 3 can get heavy on performance. Fallout fans are not actually obsessed with nukes or 1950s Americana. They're obsessed with agency, broken worlds, and characters trying to survive systems that are way bigger than themselves. Every game on this list does that, just with different tools and with different approaches. If you want more Fallout feeling, just not from Fallout games themselves, consider this 9-game detour your survival plan. Thank you for watching.